Hey guys, this is your girl TamCam, and this is the TamCam Show. And as always, I have some very special guests today. Including my little doggy Snapshot, sitting on one of my homeboys, one of my mentors' lap. JP Johnson Price. Say hello, Johnson.
What up?
And I also have two birthday guys right here. We're actually in my studio today. We're celebrating the birthdays of Tel Campbell, world-renowned Tel Campbell. Say hello, Tel.
Yeah, buddy.
And also photographer extraordinaire Frank Lott.
Yo, used to be entertainment celebrity photographer, but I gave up my title to work retail.
Oh, we're rich.
No, that's a lifetime ago.
Oh, you're doing retail now.
So it's been a while since I've actually been on the mic, and so this is the first podcast with a big group. So what are we going to talk about, fellas? Happy birthday, first of all. Let's go ahead and make our rounds counterclockwise with Mr. Tel Campbell.
Well, you know, it's a blessing to be here today, and I appreciate Tamara for putting this together, because what's a birthday without celebrating it with some great friends? So we need to do more of this while we're still here.
Yeah.
To see each other.
Exactly.
So, but I'm enjoying it. This is going to be a nice podcast. Tomorrow, say, hey, I said, let's do that podcast we've been talking about doing, that I was supposed to be doing probably over a year ago. But I'm here today. I think this is going to make up for it. And I'm ready to roll.
Let's rock and roll. And second, we have Johnson Price, who's joining in the birthday celebration.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm not a birthday guy, but I'm here with these two influential legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're legends. You know, they're not guys with cameras. These are people who probably made cameras. They made cameras. They made cameras. Made cameras better.
I didn't think guys threw shade, but I think that was a little shade.
That was shade.
Well, you know, Frank sold me my first digital camera. So. I went to one of his
That
classes.
wasn't shade, that was a tent.
Ooh, okay. I like that.
Tent.
And last but not least, we got my good friend.
The original Snapshot from K104. Hey, Snapshot.
Exactly.
You came later. I came first.
He's talking to Snapshot, my dog.
Yeah, and now I'm known as Flash at the job I'm on, but LP is the code sign I go by now. Stands for Lott's Photography. But I must say I'm so pleased, and thank you very much for putting this together.
Thank you.
Miss Campbell.
You're so welcome.
Nobody else is going to think as much of us old guys.
That's it.
Appreciate it. You know, that's what you do. You appreciate the elders, because now we are the elders in the area, especially in our urban photography.
Are you selling canes now, Frank?
I'm selling anything that somebody's going to buy, and I've got
Say,
about
are
3
you
or 4 for
selling
you.
canes?
Okay.
Come on, Frank.
And let everybody know that you can at least distinguish Tal's voice in mine, because there's no Tal Campbell or Frank Lott sighting today, because we're out together.
We're together.
We are not together. Together. Together today. If you want a basic ebonic photography, breakdown. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, my distinguished friend that always has me do his life school assistant. I'm his assistant once a year. And, you know, he always gives me a dissertation of everything. You know, we got to talk about something for 5 minutes. But he gets it done. He gets it done.
Take your notes.
What you say? Take notes.
Yeah, we're going to get him started here. So we're going to actually illustrate what Johnson does when you ask him a direct, simple question. He's going to give you a breakdown of at least 3 different categories, possibly.
You gotta know Johnson to understand what we're talking about.
He's a lovable guy.
Very lovable.
And at the end, it's to be continued.
Yeah, you got to tell him when to stop.
Come on now.
I'm glad you could laugh at it, because I swear, if you was a female, we'd be like, bitch. I ain't coming back to this podcast.
Next time you ask me a question, I'll give you what? No.
I know, right?
You're going to have a stroke if you do that.
No.
You know, it's just swelling up in you. You can't just go, no.
No, he can't.
I'm going to say 3.
No.
That's the answer to your question.
I'll be on the
3.
phone with a couple of homies. They say, "Hey, let's add in." Johnson, I want to go to bed.
Oh shit! Wake up and steal explain or something.
I said, I'm going to go to bed. I said, I know John's going to have us on here all night.
See, that's why I love hanging out with
3.
guys.
Yeah.
You guys, y'all laugh it off. Like women, we just, I don't know.
We enjoy our conversation, so
Yeah.
it's so good that we don't want to hang up.
Right.
It looks like it's better than not even get started. So, we're going to wait on that one.
Well, I mean, this is an honor to have you guys here, and I say honor with every intention because I followed you guys growing up. That I modeled for you just to get your attention, and I actually used to go and visit Frank at Wolf Camera several times. It was Wolf Camera, right?
It's been Wolf and Rich, so
and Ritz, and Johnson just became one of my amazing mentors, in the last probably 8 years, and my confidant. I mean, he's just like my big brother, and so you guys are my family. So I live by the motto.
What's up?
Those who love you the most, that's family. It's not all about blood.
Let's not let you blow smoke up our asses as much, but you are very talented in your own right. You're
most definitely
entrepreneurial. We'll give you some props. You don't let the grass grow up under your feet, sister. You've got 3 or 4 different enterprises going on at one time, and most folks your age is only focusing on one or worrying about a man or some kids or something. But you keep it moving, sisters. You're an inspiration to us old guys.
We live vicariously through you.
Thank you.
Oh, we most certainly do.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
Like fire.
Why am I welling up?
3 uncles.
Fire.
Yep, like uncles.
So.
But now, I want to make this perfectly clear.
Uh-oh.
Now, just because we both have beards and I've trimmed mine back.
I see.
Now, are you going to keep on trying to pose as me? Because, see, you the legend. I'm just following in behind you. But I don't understand how they could mistake us. Cause,
They be getting this
Well,
I'm a little darker than you.
I mean, no, not really. You guys are about the same skin tone. Now, for those who don't know, Campbell and Frank Lott, they're both huge photographers in DFW. They both have gray beards. They both wear glasses most times. And you're kind of similar, in demeanor almost,
No, I'm a little crueler.
Well, I would have to say yes on that too.
Yeah,
You're
too.
very abrupt.
Yeah,
I'm more laid back.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Y'all like yin and yang brothers.
Yes,
I'm just going to look at you and think for a minute.
Uh-huh.
Frank just blurted out.
Yeah, I'm just going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it from the hip.
Frank can throw out those F-bombs out there.
Oh, yeah. I'm a wide earth ball.
And Price going to put it on the spreadsheet,
Oh, yeah, I'm going to tell you how many times you said it.
It's on the spreadsheet.
He want to keep record of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can hear him saying, you said fuck at least 34 times in this last conversation. And the last time you emphasized it, I said, damn, okay, is it that
He
good?
can do it too. So he does it.
Oh my God. So what would you guys be doing on a Sunday like today? I mean, today is gorgeous, first of all. Yeah.
Well, typically, on a day off, I'm just probably home chilling or probably finding a little restaurant to go back and watch a little TV.
Right.
So lately I decided to just get out more, and this invitation was really special. Hey, because I didn't have anything planned today, and when you called me, it's like, hey, let's do that. So it actually turned out really good among some cool people.
Oh,
Well, you know you're an amateur foodie.
There you go.
Oh, you know you are.
If you want to know where to eat
exactly.
in Dallas.
Call
Or probably
me.
Chicago, too, I'm sure.
Call Tal Campbell.
Call
Yeah.
Tal Campbell.
Exactly.
Chicago, not as much.
He'll tell you where to eat.
But in Dallas,
Uh-huh.
I can tell you, I get
Yeah.
calls all the time from people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where can I go eat?
Wait,
Okay,
don't you
where
have a page? Don't you have a blog? You don't have a blog, do you?
Not yet.
Yeah.
Everything takes time.
Right.
It's just
Dallas
sounds good on
Observer,
paper.
please reach out to Tal Campbell. What is your handle, your email? Reach out to Tal Campbell, and maybe y'all can collaborate on something.
The goat without the cheese. That's the new one.
So what about you, Johnson? What would you be doing on a day like today, Sunday?
Oh, Sundays I usually start off at church, and then after that I go to my brother's house. We have a little dinner, and I play with his dog, and then I usually watch whatever the flavor of the game is, and then I go home usually. Or I might have if I have a shoot. Usually, if I shoot on Sundays, it's usually late.
Oh, okay.
Usually after 5 or something like that.
Then he'll get my call. Hey, Johnson, they start shouting yet? You know, he's at the church. They be shouting going on. So he said they get out late, so I always call him. Mess with him. Hey man, they start shouting yet?
So I know you specialize in kids photography. Tell Campbell. Johnson specialized in doing these extraordinary water shoots. You got to see his work.
Yeah, very.
He's a waterman.
Clever.
What do you specialize in?
Oh,
Frank?
I shifted everything from portrait, what I started with, to just events.
Events. Okay, yeah. Frank Lott is an event photographer. Yeah, I do remember seeing a lot of events, more so online. Yeah. So, and if you're wondering what I do, I specialize in high school senior photography. So how do you think the industry is going right now? Because, you know, I started another business. You know, every time I start a business, it's like birthing a baby. And so you got to nourish it. And do you feel like people who do other things beside what they want to do? Because in a perfect world, all I want to do is photography.
I think this is Tal. So,
Tell Campbell talking.
so you want to know who's talking.
Exactly.
I think you got to be really innovative.
Yeah.
And you got to stay ahead of yourself, actually, because by the time you think you're doing something new or different, somebody else has already done it.
Right.
And the new generation, they just like, they got so much digital technology with the apps. By the time we get home from a shoot, they done already posted, made a movie, and done all this. We get home, we trying to get a sandwich, and then we put our chip in the computer, and they done already got 1,000 likes.
Right.
See?
Yeah.
So we have to keep up with the younger generation, or do a lot of shows.
Do you like the way the new industry is going, where everything is so fast paced and, you know, it's like a rush? I mean,
I think you got to keep up, because I think everything's online. Everything's just.
Yeah.
But I think there's still a traditional way, and that's you got to get out and do some shows. All the stuff that Johnson does, all those like water. If he could do a big show,
so you got to
very interesting.
Self promote in a big way. Yeah.
But we got to get people in front of us differently, because we're older.
Right.
You know, not just online. What we do, because the younger generation, they're not going to do that.
No.
So.
No, they're all about, like, you know, collect the content or post it instantly.
That's it.
And it can become exhausting. Like, sometimes I do need a day or two away from just posting. And I feel good, but I feel guilty after I come back. You know, I feel like I'm missing out on something.
You shouldn't feel guilty.
Why not?
Well, we call ourselves photographers, and so that means we're professional. We care about our images.
Okay.
So those people who shoot so well and post so fast, sometimes they miss some things.
Okay.
Some things you don't want to post.
Okay.
So, and, you know, not necessarily we have to look at everything. It's just we've been taught to edit.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Okay.
They don't really edit. They just shoot, and
Yeah.
they having fun. I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but, okay, they shot it at 8 o'clock. 1 o'clock they posted. Then they turn around and call you, well, where are my pictures? And we've all heard that. It's like, hold on. I usually go through all my pictures and change the exposure.
You say, hold on.
Yeah, you know, and check the exposure, because, you know, it represents me. Because if I turn out bad product, okay, I'm going to lose business.
Right.
Somebody who's just shooting for the hell of it and, you know, spend $800 or $600 or $400 on a pawn shop camera, it don't matter to them. They just having fun.
Right.
And I have to tell folks, I say, you don't realize I get paid for this, but you're having fun. So if I mess up, I have a problem.
Right.
But you're not accountable. And
Right.
that's the whole thing. Most of these folks is doing what they're doing, they having fun, there's no accountability.
Right.
So we call ourselves photographers. And we are photographers. So the accountability is higher.
Right.
So yeah, we could post them right away,
Yeah.
but you go get what you get. And then, oh, I thought it was going, well, I need time.
Right.
You know, I shot 400 images. I'm not about to just post 400 images at 1 o'clock in the morning without looking through them and seeing if, you know, that's all I got to say. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, you do.
If you want somebody who gives you something consistent, consistency is what you're paying for.
Right.
You rent my equipment and my experience, and you want consistency.
Right.
Now, everybody else can have fun. Have fun.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't think you watch me. I do weddings seldomly for one reason.
Oh, what, you do weddings?
Seldomly.
Oh, seldomly.
Because when it comes down to the money shots, everybody's stepping up in front of you, and
my
you the one getting paid.
Ugh.
Now, people say you can't talk to my people like that. I say I need to let you know. I'm the one in control now because I'm the one getting paid. So if I don't produce, I have a bigger problem because Bridezilla does come. It does live.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Bridezilla
She
is out
will
there.
come for you.
Yeah, and it's like, I want my money back. If you'd have told your uncle and your auntie to get out the way or to wait, you know, like I tell folks now, I say I conduct traffic when I work.
Right.
And that's exactly what I do.
You
I
do
conduct
have to do that.
traffic. So I'll tell them, I say, we're going to do this one of two ways. And that's exactly what I do. We're going to do this one of two ways. You either take all your shots before I do, or I take my shots and I let you do your thing.
Right.
But you will not take a picture while I'm taking.
Oh.
Why? Because your light will affect my light.
Yep.
And I don't want to get in your way, and I'm not going to let you get in mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not that blunt, but
You tell them like that?
What you think? That's we don't do very many
But he
weddings.
throws some F-bombs in there, you know.
See,
Not at the wedding.
maybe under his breath.
Well, Johnson, I must admit, I probably slipped about 4 or 5 times when I'm working with you.
Oh, but
I just think I'm
4 or
on
5.
the dock. Just at the dock. And he just walks away.
yeah, you know what I think about when I started doing photography. It was such a technical process, and there was a lot of formulas and numbers and stuff like that you had to kind of remember and try to sift through.
Wait, when you started photography?
When I started doing photography, yeah. When I started doing photography, and I took a photography class at a junior college, it was a lot of, it was very technical. And then I went to a conference. And in that conference, there were a lot of older people.
Okay.
And I'm saying older people in their like 40s and 50s with pocket protectors.
And you were how old?
And I was probably in my
You were in
early
your element.
30s.
Okay.
Pocket
He was-
protectors?
yeah,
Pocket protectors.
Yeah, he was in his element.
So, so it was a white man,
Profession.
very technical profession. That's what you saw at
I can see
the
that.
professional
yeah,
conferences
in the beginning. Yeah.
And they had all of these credentials, I call them, but they had all of the merits and degrees and everything that they get through going through the process of their education through and certification through photography through some of the organizations. And that's what some people were, they were working in the industry, but also working to get certified so that they can be a professional craftsman or a merited or certified or whatever photographer. And the young people today, they don't know. You ask them what an f-stop is, they don't know. They know I turn the dial this way, I turn the dial that way, this happens, whatever. But they're very creative. They're very, very creative. The young people today are very creative, and they can kind of take nothing and make something. That's kind of what we're competing with. And I am amazed when I work with younger people how they visualize and what they see and how they create from what they see. And so it has made me kind of maybe change or modify, because you have to kind of somewhat kind of keep up with that, because in a lot of times that's what our clients want. They see something that Kim Kardashian or what's the sister's name?
One of the
Chloe.
yeah.
Chloe Kardashian or one of those that they post, and now they want to go out and do that, and they don't want to pay $10,000 to do it like probably they paid to do it.
Of course not.
They want to do it for less than $500, and so you have to kind of be very, very creative. And so that's what I see when I look at what's going on now in the photography industry and what's going on now. Back when I started, that's what I see mostly is that people aren't trying to learn photography as much as they are trying to be creative and produce something.
Oh, okay. So what about you, Tel? How do you stay creative? Like, what are you doing right now to keep your juices flowing? Because I have to admit, sometimes I just lose myself.
Well, one thing I'm finding out, if you don't practice as much as you need to, you'll get lost with your creativity. And then when you get back out there, you are you're starting over.
Right.
And then when you buy new tools, okay, I used to shoot with 2 speed lights. And I had special attachments that went on the speed lights. Then now I got a bigger light, so I don't use the speed light. So my look changes.
Right.
So you have to remember where you came from, remember what you used to do.
Right.
Now I'm doing something different. Do I want to do more of that or more of this? But practice. If you don't practice, and I mean,
Right.
all the time, you
Yeah. And so I feel like you need like extra things on the side to help you be able to have enough time to practice. So I'm grateful that I do have like the other businesses where I can, wake up and just play with my equipment or just study. Because honestly, like sometimes when I get a shoot at the last minute, and if I'm so involved with one business, I'll pick up the camera and I'm like, how do you use this? Like, I ain't gonna lie, I really do.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. And then it just comes to me, because muscle memory is a real thing. And so,
I did a fashion show last night.
Oh, yeah.
And
wait,
I
you
was
shot
there.
it? You shot it?
I shot it because somebody asked me to show up.
Okay.
Another associate photographer, and I showed up. And I don't really shoot fashion shows because, to me, there's nothing to do with the pictures. Because all you're doing is shooting the same thing that
Not
other
enough
20
creativity,
people are
yeah.
shooting. There's no creativity at all.
Right.
Yeah, I can change the lenses, I can change the lighting. But when I'm done and I see them post their pictures, it's the same picture I'm posting.
Right.
I may have been a little bit this way or a little bit that way because we all can't stand in the same identical spot. But at the end of the day, they're all the same pictures.
Right.
They got the same outfits on. You're under the same basic lighting conditions. And I get bored, and now you got all these images, you don't know what to do. I'm not going to say you don't know what to do. There's nothing to do with them unless you just want to post something.
Right.
But who's going to really give you a bunch of likes on a fashion show picture?
But when you do something kind of outside of what you normally do, I mean, do you find inspiration,
I find inspiration walking around at the same show, just photographing people in the audience and communicating with them, networking with them.
Right.
I probably get more out of that than shooting the actual show. So I see a fashion show nowadays as a place to network.
Right.
Now you take those people, you can get creative with them.
Right.
If you see but you can meet some interesting people.
Yeah.
But just shooting the show.
Yeah. I get it.
Unless you can set your lights up and do something. I don't know.
That's why I don't shoot weddings. I mean, first of all, I mean, if you're a photographer, there's a lot of drama when you're shooting weddings,
I've never had drama at a wedding.
Oh, what? Are you serious?
Never.
Not even like before the wedding?
You get your money. If you get your money, you're in control.
Right.
Ain't no drama. You got the money, you got the camera, you got the images. So how you gonna have drama?
Look like Frank wants to say something. You pulled the mic to you.
That's just my take on
turn.
it.
No, jump in. This is a conversation.
But that's why I never had any drama.
Well, my take on weddings is that I just don't like dealing with people that long.
What do you mean long?
Because you're typically dealing with people a year.
He's lying to you all.
A year before, maybe 6 months to a year later.
Okay.
And for me, that's just way too long.
Okay.
So
you talking about like the length of the wedding, like
the wedding process? You engaging with somebody before their wedding, and you're doing all of these consultations or whatever before the wedding.
It's true.
And then you do the wedding.
Yeah.
And then you process that wedding, and then after and that might take whatever time. And so it just, to me, that's a long time to be engaged with them. And there, I don't mind shooting a wedding if I'm a second shooter. Somebody says, hey, are you busy today? I said, no. Say, I have a wedding. I need somebody else to help me take some pictures. Hey, I'm there. I go take the pictures and eat some cake.
Yeah.
But after that, I give you my card.
Eat some cake.
And I'm gone. I'm out of there.
But I agree with him totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you.
That's my take on weddings.
Frank, did you want to? I didn't want to.
What's your take on weddings? Because I know you say you seldom do weddings, but I mean,
To me, what's my take on weddings? I roll in there like Patton. I don't take no shit.
Well, the other thing,
hey, this is a family show.
no matter how long you're there and how many people you got with you, you're gonna still be worn out. You could be 2 photographers and you still feel just like it was just you.
Yeah.
Because it's just so much to.
It's a lot.
You're the only one working. The cake is made. They got $1,500 for the cake.
Yeah.
The cake's made. They're not working. They worked at but you're the only one working that day. And after the wedding, it's just you're constantly working. And for the can't charge enough.
Hold on, let me bring up a point that you really didn't hit.
Okay,
it's just they'll spend $1,500 on a cake. Mm-hmm. They'll rent a cathedral for another $2,000. Mm-hmm. They'll pay $5,000 for the food. Mm-hmm. Yes, and they come to you and they want to spend $500 to $300.
The most important part of your wedding, the memories.
You're gonna look at my stuff the next 15, 20 years if you stay together or not.
Yeah.
But you don't value the images till after the fact, but you should be valuing them before and actually build that relationship with the photographer where you can get as much or even more creativity out of them. Because guess what? You just said this. You get your melancholy. Mm-hmm. We all get melancholy. That's what I call it. Yeah. When you just step away from it.
Right.
And then you go pick up the camera. It's like, okay, where do I start or what do I want to do? People just don't value photography anymore because, like they say, you over there with that phone videotaping this, and used to be you had to have tape, you really had to have light, and the audio has always been tricky and it's still tricky. So people don't value it anymore because it's accessible. Yeah. It's so easily accessible. Mm-hmm. And you call yourself a professional, it's my job to make sure all these things come together, whether I'm videotaping them or creating still images.
Right.
And we are historians and we capture moments. And that's what you're hiring us for. We're going to get something that you're not going to get because you haven't done it over 100 times. You haven't read people and watched action. You can see something about to occur.
Exactly.
If you're really astute.
Right.
Because people always come at me, what are you doing? You ain't taking no pictures. So I'm watching. I'm reading the room. Mm-hmm. I'm watching for what's going to happen. I'm looking for it.
Or if nothing's happening, we make it happen.
Hold on, but I didn't finish on that one. Yeah. They want to talk, but I'm working, and they don't realize that me being still, I'm still working. I'm doing the observation and dropping my F-bombs because they are distracting me. And that's what. And to Johnson's technical. That's what we love about Johnson. He's just so technical. When I was working in Ritz Wolf, people always ask me, do I need to go to school? I said, I was self-taught. I never went to school for it.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good topic, too.
Yeah, no, I was self-taught. So I blew through a lot of film. I blew through a lot of film learning what I learned.
Right.
We should talk about it.
Wait, what?
Man, I would call when you go on digital.
Really?
So he do a lot of film.
Ooh, that's a good subject, too.
No, we had that conversation at least 3 times. And, man, go digital. It's easy. Go digital. Go easy. I said, well, I just don't want to. I had a lot of money invested.
So you was fighting. You thought
I fought for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
I fought for
so
2
this
years.
was like back in 2004, 5. Because that's when the turn of the digital century.
That's probably later than that.
You think so? 2008? Wait, no, you're right. No? 2007, 7 or 8.
I mean, professionals didn't really move over until probably 2008, 2009.
Yeah,
okay, I started my business in 2007.
You bought one of them first bricks. They wasn't even bricks. It was a cinder block.
Who, me?
No.
I had the
Kodak?
One of the first original Nikon
D1.
Yeah. The D1.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a cinder block.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, it was the same size as what I'm using now.
No,
The D1 was.
No.
It was the first.
Whatever that model was, it was this big.
Are you talking about the Kodak?
No, it was a Kodak
No, the
bottom
Kodak
with a Nikon top.
Yeah, but I never had that one. I started with the D1 because I couldn't afford that Kodak. That's like 15 grand.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
I ain't had it. Then I did buy one eventually, and the picture it took about a minute.
The buffer.
You click it.
Uh-huh.
Gonna take a break.
Yeah, the buffer. It was buffering.
Come back and see it, and the file was so small.
Yeah.
Well, that was when 30 gig. No, we didn't talking about 30.
Yeah, we was on
2 gig,
megabytes.
2 gig or 1 gig was a whole lot of space back then.
No,
Wait,
megabytes.
did you start? You start out? Did you start out in film or digital?
I started in film.
You did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I shot film. And film was, when I was saying technical, it was not just the taking the picture part.
Developing.
It was the development. When you had to develop, you had to go in there and check the temperature, and based on the temperature.
Oh, you talking about you developing the pictures?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You had to check the, of your develop.
I didn't
You
go
had to
that
go in
far.
there and check it and make sure that even the water that you rinsed off the film with, it had to be a certain temperature. And that all of that made a difference in how long you agitated your cylinder to make, to develop, or how much time you left the developer in your canister to develop your film. So it was, as I said, it was a very technical thing, and people would buy, we think about white balance and things like that, and typically back then people would buy cartons or cases of film because they knew that film was all going to be the same color temperature, and then they would do a test on that film to make sure it was the same, what color temperature it was. And so it was a lot of stuff that people, that they had to work with at that time, doing for photography to get a good product.
Things that we take for granted nowadays.
Oh yeah, we don't even think about it.
Now it's just, I saw an app. Well, now you can take a negative. And back in the days, put it in front of maybe a light,
right.
so it can shine through.
Right.
Take a picture with your cell phone. Now it will take that negative, convert it to an image.
What?
Yeah, turn it to a positive.
It'll turn into a positive.
I
right on your
did
cell
not
phone.
see that.
I saw it yesterday.
Okay.
For the first
So
time.
it just
I'm
came
like,
out.
Well, if you've seen that particular software, they also have the auto correction. If you got an old picture and it's all tattered and everything, it will correct it for you in your phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, this is not only are the photographers going out of business, the graphic designers are going out of business too.
No, there's always going to be a place for them because, see, film is making a comeback. Because I talked to Todd
Really?
recently. It's making a comeback slowly but surely.
I
'Cause it's an
don't
art
see
form.
that
No,
happening.
hold on, it's
Even Tell look a little skeptic.
Hold on. Film is an art form now. So not
Well-
everybody's going to jump on it. But those folks who are just religious, like our friend here, color temperatures and all the technical aspect, because, people ask me, well, didn't you go to school? I said, you can go that route or you can teach yourself, one of the two. It doesn't matter.
Right.
But, if you do it enough, you can make it's an art form and a skill, and you want to marry the two.
Right.
Get your skill and your artistic nature to vibe, and that's
shoots
what makes you
different.
great.
Say what?
It shoots differently.
Film?
Negative.
Uh-huh. Film?
It shoots different than digital.
Film?
Yeah.
Not anymore, not really.
I don't, to be honest, I don't see the difference.
When I say it shoots different, it's if you blow something out with film, you can bring it back. You blow something out with a digital, it's gone. So it shoots different.
It used to be, because right before I transitioned to digital, I started shooting a lot of slide film, and
I ain't talking about slides. I'm
Hold
talking
on,
about
just
negative.
let me finish
Okay.
my thought here.
Okay.
Now, like I said, I was shooting a lot of slide, and
Are you the middle child? You the middle child?
anyway?
You must be the
child.
middle child. You the middle.
Your latitude on slide was stop. 1 or 2.
I get that too.
So that made me better because I knew I had that. I had the bracket in between there. I had to figure out where I needed to be. So that just sharpened my skill set in my eye for the light. Now the digital, well, you're a Lightroom master. You said yourself.
Start using
No.
Lightroom.
You're a guru, as you call yourself, and people have given and responded to that. You'll take an image like you showed me earlier, and I won't bring up nobody's name. You showed me the raw image, and you showed me how you manipulate. You didn't do that much to it, but you showed you always show the difference. You bring out, you make it more vibrant is the word we use, and you give it an enhancement that doesn't take away from the composition, but adds to it. Okay. Now the software has gotten to the point where if there's enough in that file, and that's the thing, if you shoot raw, you can recover the damn thing because all the information's there no matter what. How bad you blow it out, you won't be able to get a just great image, but you can get an image. I beg to differ. That's my point. I beg to differ.
Okay. So you don't shoot raw?
No, I don't have a demand for it. If I was shooting commercial, that would be something where I would want to be able, as my friend here, the dissertation master here, you have all that information. So which way you want to go, you can play with it. You can pull the gamma and everything around.
Who was that? It was either you or Tell, because I talk to you guys the most. Where like for the first time, like all these years I've been shooting raw. I'm like, why am I shooting raw? It's taking up so many files. But I actually had a client, a really good friend of mine, and she wanted this particular image. And so I took the raw file, ran it through Lightroom, and oh my God, amazing. Yeah. What did I tell you? I don't know. But it was amazing. I was like, okay, I'm a believer now. All this time I didn't believe in raw. I believe in it now.
People don't shoot raw for the wrong reasons because they don't know what it can do. They just assume what the capabilities are, but if you don't do it all the time, you don't know what it can do. So you just sit back and say, well, I don't shoot raw for this reason, that reason. Like Tony don't shoot raw for any events because he said, I don't have to.
Well, I agree with that because, you shoot events, so I don't see why you would shoot raw.
I shoot exactly raw for exactly what I just said.
Yeah.
You don't know why because you don't do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you assume you don't have to do it because it's just an event. It's like the way I always approach raw. You go out and you're driving. You don't have no insurance.
Right.
You have a wreck, then you say I should have had insurance. Well, you didn't have to because it's just a car. I'm just driving.
Right.
And I'm not going to have an accident today. But if you had insurance, you could have been covered.
Right.
Same with a raw file. If you have an image,
right,
and you need to do something with it, and all you got is a JPEG,
right.
You only got so much information.
But you can always, if you don't want the raw file, just throw it away.
Right.
But shoot it. At least shoot it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use up all your space,
right,
just delete them.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's all I tell people.
Well, I mean, I was totally against raw in the beginning because you remember when I had my vehicle wrapped with the high school seniors on it? That was actually a JPEG. That was a JPEG picture. I didn't shoot raw back in the day.
But that shows you how the technology is.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the JPEG, whether it's a JPEG or not, really had nothing to do with what wrapped on your vehicle. It still was a great image.
Yeah, and the detail was like you can see the lashes.
That has nothing to do with raw.
At the end of the day, if you shoot with a raw file, when you come out of the wash, what are you going to end up with? You're going to end up with a JPEG. Right?
Well, yeah.
So, I mean, you come out with a JPEG. Only thing it does is it gives you, because when you're in there manipulating a JPEG image, you don't have as much information to make those manipulations. And so your manipulations are not going to be as smooth as it would be with the raw file. So that's the biggest difference. And
I agree with that. I've seen the difference.
And at times that you really have very little control over. I mean, if you're shooting if you have somebody you're going to shoot and you're taking them out someplace and you work on your lighting or whatever, you're in control of all of that. At an event, you're hardly in control of anything except your camera. And so a lot of times you're taking pictures on the fly, or sometimes they're not the best lighting conditions or situation, and sometimes you have to move on the cuff. And then if you have a raw file, that gives you the ability to be able to bring that information back.
2 stops this way, 2 stops that way. When I did the fashion show last night, I didn't have to be perfect because I already knew when I get home if it's too bright, I can bring it down. If it's too dark,
and
I can manipulate when I get home. I didn't have to always be perfect, because I can manipulate exactly how I want it.
Right.
And that's what you can do with a RAW. You can't do that with a JPEG.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, can you do some things? Yeah, you can lighten it or darken it, but you can't manipulate it the same.
Right. I totally agree with that.
You don't have as much control in the highlights and shadows.
Yeah. take a bride.
Right.
She spent $5,000 on this beautiful gown, and you shooting JPEGs. Now she wants to see the details.
Yeah.
You can't bring the details in with a JPEG. It's just what's there is there.
Right.
If you lost the details in the dress, that looks like a white blob. You gotta.
I mean, you could probably see some texture. So,
But you
but
won't
you
be
spent-
able to get what you know.
yeah.
$5,000 tomorrow on the dress.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You wouldn't be saying that if you were the bride.
Well,
Where's my details in my dress? I spent $5,000. I had this dress made specifically out of this material.
Back into the mic, Tal.
you got to stay on the
Stay in the mic, stay in the mic.
Tell, keep
And
Stay in your lane, man. Stay in your lane.
Tell about the
my
stars.
details is gone. That's all I'm saying.
The audience,
Towels
the
just
audience.
flowing. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Tell moved away from the
Hey,
mic.
he's about to move in.
Anyway,
Tal was moving in for the kill.
getting a little excited.
Damn it. That's my point. Damn it.
I'm like, okay, let me
But
hear
anyway,
it.
that's, you know me.
Tell getting a little emotional. Hey, it's your birthday
Well, you know when
party.
it comes, you know how I am about Ralph House.
I didn't know.
I want to go back to the film thing.
I'm gonna get you a shirt that say "I defend the raw."
I want to go back to the film thing because I read
defend-
an article a couple years ago about there was this couple who did weddings. That was their bread and butter, and they were down in Florida. They moved to film from digital to do weddings to control the cost.
Wait, what? Wait,
to
I missed.
control the cost.
Okay.
Because they said if they go in and shoot a wedding, they shoot 3,000 images, say for instance.
Right.
They got to call through 3,000 images. That take time, as time is money. And so what they were able to do is they were able to, if they moved the film, they had a finite number of shots that they could take for that wedding. And so that meant that they thought about every shot that they took. And they shot a lot less, but they still got all the shots that they needed. And then they were able to take that processing piece that they would typically do on the computer time, shift that back over to the lab, and outsource that again. Because back in the day in film, we didn't do all that stuff. We just turned it over to the lab, and the lab came. They did all the corrections for us, and they gave us back prints.
I never did that. I always did all my color correction.
I'm talking about in
You never shot film, right?
In film.
Well, yeah, I did. In the beginning, I did shoot film for probably. I started in 2003, so I
You
guess
did color
before.
corrections on.
Oh wow! Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm saying, they took all of that and they brought it back, and then they were able to, and they showed in there how they reduced their cost. So, but the problem is right now is that film has gone up so much that it's pretty expensive. It's expensive right now to shoot film.
Shouldn't it be cheap because not a lot of people are doing it?
It's
That's why it's
expensive because
cost
it's a supply issue of film.
Oh.
I mean, nobody's buying it, so supply and demand. is
Processing too.
Yeah. Oh, because there's not a lot like people that process.
And when I was taking, and I took
That makes sense.
a class at Mountain View. Took a photography class. It was a friend of mine that I grew up with that was visiting my mother, and I just happened to be over there that day. And she was saying, "By the way, I'm taking this photography class at a junior college, and if you take it on nights and weekends, it's like half price." I said, "Well, what's half price?" She said, "Oh, my class is $37." I said, $37 to take a photography class? I said, "I'm signing up." And I signed up the next semester and took that photography class for $37. The camera, the film, the paper, everything cost more than the class. But
Did you get a certificate or credit towards something?
you get a college credit for it, but I'm not going to do anything with that. That's just
Right. But that was your introduction to.
what it did is it fast tracked me from having get a basis because the lady who taught my photography class was an art person. She was an artist, and so she had a BFA or Bachelor's of Fine Art. She wasn't really a photographer. She was an artist, and she had to take photography as part of her art degree, and they needed somebody to teach photography, and so she taught photography, but she was all natural light. Didn't know anything about artificial lights at all.
Interesting.
So you know anything about flashes and strobes and all that kind of stuff. She everything was natural light, which was
Right.
good because that taught the basics for exposure.
Exactly.
she was very, very, very good at exposure. And that made a big difference. So I still use a lot of that, what I learned then, to affect what I do now. But the main reason, I kept taking classes because for $37, I can get access to a development lab. And if you went over to Dallas Center Photography or something like that, they might charge you $100 an hour.
Oh, wow.
Or not $100, $25 an hour, I think.
Oh.
Or $30 an hour, something like that, to use their development thing.
Oh, okay.
And that's about what I paid for the semester.
Well, I tell you, if it wasn't for me taking a film development class, I probably wouldn't know about dodging and burning, so quickly in Photoshop and leading and kerning, all that is. I worked in a print shop when I was in college. And so a lot of the references that we had back then, they use in Photoshop right now. And if it wasn't for, buying 200 ISO or 400 ISO film, then it wouldn't make sense to me, because my mind don't work like that. Seemed like the bigger the aperture, seemed like the bigger the number should be, but it's actually opposite. So in photography, if you are a photographer, you got to think a different way. So, and it makes sense to me. It really does. Did you guys learn in your upbringing that you start with a certain number in photography? Like I was taught that you start with f8, you start with 200 ISO, and you start with 60 for your shutter.
No.
I was self-taught.
No, actually what we did was, like I said, the teacher I had was natural light. So natural light, available light, you pick up a camera, you look in it, you have a meter. So she showed us how to use the meter.
So in her teaching, you had to stay in the middle of the meter.
You had to get a good exposure.
Right. I used to hate those meters. I ain't gonna lie.
So now,
I still don't like
creatively, you go from there. But if you're trying to get a good exposure, then you're, if you're shooting something that has dark tones in it, and you want the texture in it, then you have to probably overexpose, right? Because you're shooting something dark tones. If you're shooting something the other way, that's maybe very, very light or very, very bright, and you have texture in that, then you might have to underexpose in order to get the texture. So there are some of those things that it's not always getting get the thing in zero.
Right.
And lining it up. You have to look at what you're shooting, what you're trying to capture, and then you have to make an intelligent decision based on that.
Right.
And some of that comes with experience, and some of it is theory, but some of it is just experience and your creativity, what you want to capture.
So as far as your camera choice, I just found out that Frank's a Canon
shooter.
I didn't even know this for years. You just told me that a couple of days ago. I'm like, what? How are we friends? Like this, like I normally gravitate towards like Nikon shooters by default without even realizing.
I'm sorry, it's my personality. It's my personality.
You must have was
personality.
It's the beard.
No, my ability to drop a F-bomb just right.
The beard made him.
Maybe I thought he was you all these years until I found out. Okay.
I don't see why.
You thought because I shot.
Yeah, Nikon, I knew you with Nikon.
He would shoot Nikon automatically.
But it just, normally.
Actually, I started out with Minolta.
Okay, so that makes sense because I started out with Minolta. And I started out with Minolta too.
Minolta, which is Sony now. Excuse me. Minolta is a Sony now. Minolta used to be the shit.
It did, yeah.
I had so much flexibility and different, Canon took the spot. Took that slot. But Minolta, oh Lord, how much between Minolta and Canon.
So why did you switch to Canon?
That's when I started working with K104, and I had to have something.
They gave you a camera for free?
I had to have something that had a little bit more versatility than the Minolta. I hated giving it up because I'd already bought the range of lenses. Yeah. But I was shooting a whole lot more low light, and the Minolta wasn't giving me what I wanted. Oh. So I got an AE2.
So you chose it on purpose?
No, I was talking to Bob over at Wolf Camera on Harry Hines. That's when I was still just, groping in the dark, shooting an automatic. And he said, well, you shooting in low light, this is what you need. So that was I pushed all my Minolta across the counter and started with the Canon.
And what about you, Johnson? How did you start out with your camera?
Well,
choice?
actually, I went over to
Ramsey.
No, I actually went over to Ritz Camera.
The one on Greenville?
No, I bought mine from Irving Mall. And I went in there and I looked at the Canon, I looked at the Nikon, and I said, "Any, mini, miny, mo." Basically, and bought the Nikon. That's how I started shooting Nikon. I bought the N80, and it had, and the guy asked me, do you want the Nikon lens or do you want, what was it? What was it?
Sigma.
No, it wasn't Sigma. It was
Quantum Ray.
Quantum Ray.
Oh,
Which
ooh.
Sigma
Ooh.
made the Quantum Ray lenses for
I haven't heard of
Ritz,
them.
the Wolf. So I said, well, what's the difference? He said about $40. And so I said, okay, well, give me.
That and a quarter of a stop.
Well, he didn't tell me about the quarter stop. He didn't tell me about the quality either.
So your future was changed.
Gamble.
Yeah, changed by $40.
No,
The future of
just the lens. Just
Okay.
the lens.
Oh, okay.
The camera was just a choice, Nikon, Canon. I just picked Nikon. I think I heard something good about Nikon or whatever. I don't know. That's the reason why I picked it over Canon.
Now, it's funny you say that. I used to sell a lot more Nikons than Canon. You wouldn't believe that, but people would say, I say it'd be easy for you to learn on Nikon because Canon has a lot of nuances.
Canon seemed like it's the Apple of the camera world.
Nah.
No?
Sony's the Apple.
Sony?
They're the innovator.
You would think, well, yeah, I'll have to agree with
they're
that
the
too.
innovator.
Yeah, Sony.
And what they're doing, what they did in order, they bought the assets of Conoco Minolta, and I remember when I used to go to the photography conference and they had the Sony guy, the Sony rep. He had nothing. He had this little lens that you put on the iPhone. That's what he was selling. That's all he had to sell.
Look at them now.
And he had these Conoco Minolta what they had Sony at the time, big huge because they did have a DSLR. They had a DSLR that they brought over, but nobody was shooting with that stuff, which was the reason why it was Conoco Minolta. But they took that and they re-innovated and they went mirrorless. They scrapped that stuff as soon as they could and they jumped on the mirrorless thing. And when the new people came out, and what they did is they went after the young creative market.
Yeah.
They advertised and marketed to the young creatives. And they didn't talk to them about f-stops and all that kind of stuff. They showed them creative things that they could do with these cameras, and how mobile they can be, and how creative they can be, and that's what they did.
What about you, T? Like, how'd you get started with your camera choice?
I was already shooting with film on Nikon. So when I switched over,
So I asked you, how'd you get to Nikon on film?
I don't know how I actually, which cameras I was using. Some reason I just started shooting with Nikon. Somebody probably told me that was a good camera to use.
Right.
What was your first camera?
It was a Minolta. Cause my brother.
No,
bought
your
it.
first Nikon.
I don't remember.
Okay. Your first Nikon camera.
See, I don't even remember.
Okay.
I don't remember which one I was using. I was shooting. I didn't know much about models, and
You're just shooting.
I was just shooting.
Yeah.
I didn't really know
Right.
nothing about lenses, models. I was just taking pictures, and
Right.
then I got a Nikon. Then when the D1 came out, the reason why the D1 was because it was the only DSLR
Right.
that was affordable. It was $5,000, and that was affordable back then because everything else was like 15, 20 grand. So they finally came out with something I could afford, and That's why I bought the D1.
Right.
Then I got the next one, and the next one.
Right.
And then they started coming out with these different ones. I didn't even know there was a difference between the DX and the FX. And
I never really got into that. Like, I feel like I'm not a technical photographer, and I guess you guys probably know that. I'm more of a creative photographer. And even when I'm out in the field or I'm shooting in the studio, I don't worry about, okay, this f-stop, or, I just shoot until it looks good, I'm like, and, I get the light the way I want to, and then I do all that. Why are you looking at me like that, Frank? I love my work, but I do most of my editing in Photoshop. I add light where I need to. I darken it where I need to. I'll change the shirt. I'll add a third eye if I need to.
Your final product is each photographer's choice.
Who's that? Oh, go ahead.
No, I say, so however you get your final product, now when you got a certain job to do for a corporation and you don't know that stuff, then you're kind of like, you can't always get back and do what you do in Photoshop, because they may just want the images. They'll do their own manipulations. So you still, at some point, if you're going to do more commercial work or you're dealing with certain people,
right,
you got to know that stuff. You got to know shutters.
At one point, when I was shooting high volume seniors, I did have a system, like, because I shot probably 90% in studio, and
you were
probably
shooting for yourself.
I was shooting for myself, but what I'm saying is, I knew exactly, like, the measurements. I knew the f-stop. Like, I knew what worked with what fabric, what worked with what light. So I mean, I just feel like every photographer, they have their method, and they have their own thing. Like, if you're a creative photographer, that's good.
Well, that's why I was saying, if you're shooting for a corporation,
right,
which is not yourself,
yeah,
you got to know certain things, because you're not able to go and manipulate it. They don't want you to manipulate anything. They want you to just shoot it the right way. Hand it to them, and then they'll do their own manipulations off your.
Probably why I'm not working for a corporation.
Right. So some photographers have to know. But if you're doing just fine with your own work, then you're fine. Yeah. But
I've had a couple of gigs like that. I had one I regretted shooting because they wanted me to shoot it with a red filter.
Like a client?
Yeah, a client. They wanted me to shoot it with a red filter, and it's like, but that's what they wanted. That was the look they were after.
Right.
They wanted that look, and it's like, okay. And I shot it. I didn't like it.
Right.
I got good exposure, but I didn't like it.
Right.
But it wasn't about, like you said, it was not about what I like. My creativity is just, they wanted some good clean shots, and they wanted shot with a red filter.
Right. Yeah.
And that was that.
Yep.
And whatever they did with it, I don't know.
So speaking of corporate, I mean, if you guys can, like, switch your careers and work with big clients and big brands, would you do that at this time in your life? I mean,
I think I would, as long as I'm comfortable doing the work or confident.
I mean, what if the dollar is right, but
you still got to be confident in producing the work,
right?
Just because the dollar's right and you call yourself a great lighter, you still got to know how to do what they want you to do, because everything ain't just like that.
Right.
You got to know exactly, because they'll come up with some stuff you ain't even thought of.
Right.
You be like, I thought I knew everything about, or I thought I was good at this, good at that. And then you're sitting there like, I don't know what you're talking about, but we're going to make this work.
Right.
But yeah, I would definitely, because they do pay.
Yeah.
And when they pay, instead of $500, they pay $5,000.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
$75,000 a year.
Yeah. So what about you guys? I mean, at this time in your life, would some big box say, hey, I like your work online, I want to hire you? Would
they like what I do online? Sure, because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It really depends, because the question you're asking about is,
because I know Johnson, he's waiting for Ozark or one of the water companies. He always tagging those water companies. Yeah. Maybe go for Walmart water.
The only one that actually responded was a Nestle.
What's that, Great Value water?
Nestle was the only one
that
actually
respond.
When I tagged them on a shot, and the girl had a water, with the Nestle label on there, they liked it.
That was it.
But it probably was some
kid in Montana over their social media.
It's funny you say that. Here recently, this Christmas, I shot at Grandscape, and I posted a couple of images on Instagram, and Grandscape liked 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And then Albany liked one of my shots of my breakfast lunch. And then another one with my sister at, what is that, Mexican restaurant, I can't remember, but they tagged it. But ain't nobody called me. Yeah. But they liked the image, and that was about it.
You know, I did shoot, I shot something with Stellar Lights. I used to see Stellar Lights. And I did this shoot out at the lake. I was...
Don't you have a hut out there right now?
I know, right?
He's always in the same gap, same spot. The sun waits on him. Oh, we know Price is coming, so we'll slow
Well, Frank,
down
he just go out there just to hang out now. I'm like, I said, where you going, Jay? Oh, just to the lake.
I told you he's got a hut.
You going to the lake? I'm like, you got to shoot?
No,
I'm
you find your spot. You look for a good spot. And then, you got to do all that stuff while, you work while it's day and,
Temperature
I looked up your horoscope and everything about your name is around water. Because you're a Pisces, right?
No.
What? You're not a Pisces? Wait, you're a Pisces?
I'm Aquarius.
You're Aquarius? Wait,
Aquarius.
some about your horoscope.
Cancer.
You're Cancer. Oh, you're a Cancer.
Cancer, yeah.
Okay, keep talking. I'm going to go ahead and get this book.
Okay.
And it says a lot about water. I'm like, oh, this is why he's so fascinated with water. When is your birthday? When is
July.
July what?
July 16th.
All right.
So I shot this thing. I shot this young lady out at the lake. I used the Stellar Lights. I tagged them on it, and they liked it. They sent me a message back and saying, "Hey, can we repost this?" And they reposted it on their page.
Okay.
So
I think that's a good note.
that was good, and because you can get a Henry mine right there.
I think that's a big deal. They like what you did, and they reposted.
No, take the water. That made me have to go to the restroom.
That's why I don't want it.
But yeah, but brand association right now is real. I mean, some of the things that some of the people are doing and getting influenced by or getting noticed by certain brands and stuff like that, they might not actually work for them. But it's still real good. And online marketing, it's a heck of a lot cheaper. Thank you. It's a heck of a lot cheaper than what they might do in a magazine or TV or whatever.
True.
Radio. And so they don't mind spending $500 with an influencer to put something out there versus spending $10,000 on a campaign.
Cheaper, a lot more traction.
Yeah,
Different kind of traffic, but
Traction.
it's just another way of.
but they can pinpoint. Well, the good part about social media marketing is that you can pinpoint almost to the age and race. You can really go down on a demographic point with social media to pinpoint your target market.
That's true.
A lot better than you can do with any of the other medias out there. You can't do it with television, can't do it with radio, but you can do it with social media.
Yeah, with television, you have to actually do it in the ad. The way you produce the ad has to cater to a certain market.
Well, it could be stations, it could be times that they run it.
Right.
Like if you're unemployed and if you're looking at TV during the daytime, you see a lot of the court, lawyers, for the people who are getting, get a case. They catch a case. So they sit there home.
So that means you watch a lot of daytime. Because we know what you're doing.
I watch a lot of daytime, yeah. I watch a lot of daytime. I watch a lot of TV at night. But you see that the type of commercials you get during different times of day, it's not by chance.
Well, I can't find the book. I'm going to find it and present it to you.
I trust you.
You said July Cancer? He likes a lot of light.
Yeah.
That's what it is, LED.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. We're past an hour, and hopefully we can do this again.
Did you have SD card in there?
Oh my God! Yes, I do. I do. Hello.
Okay, so we gonna put this on YouTube? We gonna
Yeah,
be on YouTube?
yeah. You want it to be on YouTube?
Sure.
Yeah,
All
put
right.
it out there. Put us out there.
All right. So let's go ahead down the road and give our tag where people can find you. Starting with Mr. Lott, Mr. Frank Lott. Where can they find you on social media?
I'm Frank A. Lott on Facebook, Lotto1 on Instagram, Lotto1 on Twitter. I'm back on Twitter. Tweet. And LP on the Scene, Dallas, Facebook. LP on the Scene 1 and 2 on YouTube.
And if they need what? They
And
should be
if
calling.
If they want to contact me, you can contact me at 214-916-8593, or as it says, lponsthescene@gmail.com.
Sweet. All right. And what about you, JP?
On Instagram, I'm J Price Photo. On Twitter, I'm Price Photo. Snapchat, I'm J Price Photo. Facebook, I'm Joe Pool,
Yeah, we wonder why.
like the lake.
Yeah.
On what else is there? YouTube, I think I'm Price Photography. And I'm J Price Photography, or JP Photography at J Price Photography is my email.
What about TikTok?
TikTok, I'm J Price Photography. J Price Photo. J Price Photo.
And people should call you for what type of photography?
Oh, I do portraits, events. Portraits, events, but no weddings.
Okay. And I was trying to say that too for you, Frank. So people should call you for what type of photography?
Well, I'm classified as a freelancer. If the money's right, and I start at $1,100 now for a wedding. I used to be nice, so I'm not nice anymore. If you want to reach out for me for a wedding, we start at $1,100. But generally, events, birthday parties, conventions, fashion shows seldomly, but I will do them. I'll even go help Tal, make his boring evening a little more enlightening, and drop a couple of F-bombs and get some folks giggling.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, TC.
Well, I'm going to keep it simple. My website, talcampbell.com. My Instagram is Tal Campbell Exclusive. Phone number 972-263-6789. And Facebook is under Tal Campbell.
And I am Tamara Campbell. I go by TamCam. You can find me at tamaracampbell.com. Instagram, always TamCam, or TamCam Photo. If you want to email me, it's info@tamcamphoto.com. And that's it for our show. It's good to, what? You got something to say?
Yeah, Tal Campbell does lots of kids. And I do portraits.
Right.
Oh, what's your kids' website?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
kidswithnaturalhair.com.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's a specialty I do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a good special. You need to
Thank you.
promote that natural hair book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You good with those kids? Yes,
We'll be
you
doing
are.
a little bit more of it this year. Appreciate
So,
that, Price.
are you going to be doing a collab with Johnson where you splash water on the kids?
Yeah, we're gonna be splashing some kids,
We've actually talked about that.
but they got we got to get the parental consent.
Yes. Splash.
You can't
consent.
splash with no parental consent.
If you're listening, you would have to know we're talking about. Go see Johnson's work because he does these amazing water shots.
He's the water man.
He's the water splashologist. That's what we call him, the splashologist.
And I deal with kids with big afros.
Yeah.
So we're there.
And I'm merging into tween photography, but I specialize in high school senior portrait photography. So
Cool.
this is the TamCam Show once again with my photo family.
Play that music.
Did I
Yeah,
hit the
buddy.
tweet button? I meant to hit this button. Oh, no, not that button. That's the laughing button.
Oh, the applause. There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, fans.
Yes. Thank you guys so
Yeah,
much for
buddy.
joining us. We're going to try to do this every now and then, but this is a rare occasion. You guys have a good night. Be safe. Try to keep your stress level down. We know there's a lot that's going on in the world. Love one another, but most of all, love yourself. Peace.
You go, Ukraine. Peace out. Check, baby. That was fun.